Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the MK Productions podcast. I'm your host, Mac, joined here as usual by my co-host, my friend, my confidant, Kristen, aka Miss Flamingo. And also, Kristen, I got a question for you, but introduce yourself to the audience first.
Hello everyone. It's Miss Flamingo. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I got a question for you.
What's the question?
I've known you for a better part of almost 5 years now.
Yes.
And I don't think I ever asked, how did you come up with the name Miss Flamingo?
I was playing around with some words. Um, I did used to write like movie reviews like back in the day, and then that wasn't until like 2019 where I came up with the idea of Miss Flamingo.
Mhm.
I took like a break when I was like going through school and stuff. And I was like, I want to rebrand myself. I'm gonna come back to doing film reviews. And most of the reviews like I've done in the past, they're kind of gone now, like
Yeah.
scrapped from the internet. But I thought of Flamingo because I was playing around with words, and I always liked the idea of having pink like with myself because I'm obsessed with pink and I'm very, very girly that loves film and and I was like, flamingo, like I was playing around with the word flamingo and I was like, flamingo, flamingo. And I was like, that could work. And then, just came up with flamingo and I was like, I want to put the miss in. So it's like, not just flamingo.
It should
It's
be
like,
Mrs. now.
it should be Mrs. But I just like still like Miss Flamingo and then, just kind of still rolling with it.
Mhm.
And I like it, it fits better than what my last thing was. It was so like it was like such a Tumblr name and it was like very Tumblr themed, you know,
Oh
given my
god.
time since I grew up during the time of Tumblr.
You grew up during the heyday of Tumblr. I mean, I guess I
I
did too,
did.
but I kind of just stick to like early Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. But
So, and it's
I was,
so
I
funny
was,
because it gets picked on TikTok right now. It's like when you hear the 1975 or like Little Mix or something, and it's like you got hearts or like the mustache,
Mhm.
finger, and you put it up to your face. You got a little mustache finger,
Oh my
You
god,
see that
I
stuff? Like
have.
I cringe at that stuff, but I used to go on Tumblr, and that was the Tumblr like theme where you had just discolored photos. Like that was the time I grew up in high school, and it was like, oh wow, I am.
Does it make you feel old sometimes?
Oh, definitely. I
um,
already
I,
feel old
I
99% of the time.
I feel that to you when it comes to I see people like remember when Vine. I see like Vine
Well,
compilations. Like,
yeah,
oh
that
my
was also
god.
part of the Tumblr thing because times they would get reposted to Tumblr. So I
But
remember that time in Vine.
Tumblr is still kicking. Tumblr is like it's not as big as it was, but it still
No,
has its dedicated people. And I've been
this
on there
is
a few
it.
times, and it's just like, wow, this looks so different than when last time I was on there.
It's not, I don't, it's definitely not like what it used to be.
No, maybe we should do a retrospective episode on our childhood
I mean, like, I feel
memories.
like we'll get a movie about Tumblr in the next 20 years.
Probably Tumblr
And
the
then
new.
that's when it'll be
It'll
a
be the social.
thing.
We can get Aaron Sorkin to do it. It's like the social network, but Tumblr.
Well, he's working on a social network too, question mark.
Why?
Remember that?
Just why?
So, anyways, guys, we're here today to discuss a brand new film that was sent to us called Night at the Harvest. We want to thank the people at Gravitas Ventures for sending us the screener. But before we dive into that, we're going to talk movie news, of course, right, Mac?
Yes, we are. We got some interesting news. There's actually, if you listen to our last episode, which we talked about 2019 Joker in preparation for the second Joker movie coming out in a few weeks, Kristen mentioned Megalopolis, and we actually got some news that started off with that. So, if we're done with everything else, let's get right into the news.
This is CNN, a network of Turner Broadcasting System.
All right, so the news for this episode of the podcast, we're starting off with some spicy news. Kristen, last episode
Spicy.
you mentioned that you were interested in seeing Francis Ford Coppola's Odyssey film. This is his passion project, Megalopolis, starring Adam Driver, and has like a ensemble cast. You were excited. You were not excited. You were curious to check it out in theaters. Is
I'm
that
very
correct?
curious to check it out because I don't think I ever saw a Francis Ford Coppola film in theaters, because when was the last time he released a film like in theaters?
It's been a minute.
it's been a long, I feel like it's been a long time. Like, I'm trying to think, have I ever seen a Francis Ford Coppola film in theaters? Like, like I'm already a fan of, like, a lot of his work. I mean, he does produce stuff, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to think.
I'll look up his
Did I ever
filmography real quick.
see a film of his in theaters? Yeah, I haven't seen a movie of his in theaters.
Really?
No, and because the last, I guess technically, maybe the last film he would put out in theaters was The Rainmaker.
Yeah, because everything else is kind of no, there's a few different ones. You had Youth Without Youth, um, Tetro, Twixt, Distant Vision, but this is gonna be his first film. Oh, never mind. Distant Vision has not come out yet. Yeah,
From what
Megalopolis
it
is.
looks like, it doesn't have distribution like any of the projects that he's
I
worked
was, I
on.
was gonna say, okay, Megalopolis is his first distribution film in a minute, I guess.
We'll put that out.
Yeah.
Anybody can go in the comments and correct us.
Yeah, but so his new movie Megalopolis, he's been working on this since the 80s, and it has an ensemble cast, some problematic people in there, but it's Francis Ford Coppola. He's Apocalypse Now
And it
Godfather.
has John Voight because we had him on our show, remember? At the
Yes, we
beginning of the
did.
year.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of backstage. This is turning into the new Don't Worry Darling minus the funniness that was with that behind the scenes drama, but we got some scandalous mistreatment of extras and actors, just very creepy behavior, firing the VFX team and hiring and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of big problems right now, and it came to a head when the trailer dropped for Megalopolis and they had to take it down because there was controversy over fake reviews that were in the trailer. So not a good start. So it has debuted a little bit. It's coming out within a week of this episode. It's going to be on 27th of September. Right now, it's sitting at a 52% at Rotten Tomatoes, and that is
That's not
rotten.
looking good.
And the consensus is more of a creative manifesto than a cognate narrative feature. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis is an overstuffed opus that equal part stimulating and slapdash.
I just want to see it because of the rating it has and the word of mouth. It's kind of gotten to the point where I was like, I need to see it to believe it, you know? That's how I kind of feel. And I want to say it too. There's also going to be a special screening this coming Monday, the
Ooh.
23rd. And they're doing like an IMAX thing, kind of like what they're gonna do with the Joker 2, and kind of like what they did at the beginning of the year with like Dune Part 2. They also did this too with Twisters over the summer,
Mhm.
Q&A live stream. So I mean, let's see how many people turn up for that. I mean, I was gonna go to it, but I was like, I don't feel like going to that because I already paid money to go to the Joker 2. So I just hope, with everything going on in this film, it's more like I need to see it to believe it. Like with everything, that's how I feel. Like I want to root for this man. He's put his whole life work into this, and I'm anxious to see the results. And I don't know how I would feel if I were to rent this film. Like I don't know if I would have the same energy if I wanted to rent this. Like I still would want to go see this in a theater,
So you want to just give it a shot?
I do really want to give it a shot. And I don't, and it's the other thing is, I'm like, I love my husband. I don't think this is something he would like
Uh-huh.
based on the trailer. I mean, we went to go see Speaking of Evil the other day with some friends, and he really liked it. Like he's been liking some of the films we've been going to see lately, which is good. But I don't want to show him a bumpy road, with the
So we
Megalopolis if it turns out to be just mid,
Well, we
you
talked
know?
about it too because we said like what was going to be the return of it because I forgot who we discussed this with. Or I talked about it with Rod from Infinity Film Podcast, and it's just more of like how many people are going to go see this unless you're a cinephile, you're a fan of Francis Ford Coppola, or you're a fan of like Adam Driver or whoever else is in the movie. Like that's going to be the leading, and then but this is we're coming in at like almost 3 hour film. This is almost a 3 hour film.
I mean, if people want to put in the time and energy like into it, like how they did with going to see Killers of the Flower Moon, then that's fine. But you would really need to plan out your day. Because there also, I will say, the Substance is coming out, and that's clocking in at 2 hours and 20 something minutes.
Uh-huh.
So and I want to see that. That's the new Demi Moore movie and Margaret Qualley and Dennis Quaid movie. You know, like that's another movie I feel like you're gonna need to put your time and energy. But for Megalopolis, yeah, for another movie that's gonna clock in at 3 hours, that's a lot. Better bring a comfy blanket with you if you want to fall asleep if it's not good.
But Kristen, do you think Megalopolis is going to be good, or do you think it's just going to fall flat?
Unfortunately, I think it's gonna come to this situation where it's gonna fall flat. Honestly, at this point where the marketing has gone, it's like become like the laughing stock where it's like, what are they gonna do now?
Mhm.
Really, this fake trailer, Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, every film has its ups and downs, getting to where it needs to be, but I haven't seen where the mess has gone this bad since, Don't Worry, Darling. And I mean, maybe that can be the next step when Wicked comes out with that drama,
I didn't even know there was drama with Wicked.
Oh yeah, the onset stuff with, Ariana Grande.
What happened? I don't.
And
I
the guy who played SpongeBob on Broadway.
I can you remind me of that?
Oh, all right. That's gonna be another deep dive. Y'all let us know if I should discuss with Mac
Can you
the
just tell me what
drama.
happened now? Like, what's going on?
Um, so this is like I'm gonna put all alleged. This is all alleged. Um, Ariana Grande and got with the guy who plays one of the characters on the Wicked set,
Okay.
and he played SpongeBob on Broadway, and
Okay.
yeah, and they got together, and the guy who's like the voice of SpongeBob, I can't think of his name right now,
On the
but
play or the show?
the play, like the
Oh, okay.
musical
Okay, you said voice of
SpongeBob on.
SpongeBob. Do you mean who plays SpongeBob? Because the voice of
Yeah,
SpongeBob, Tom
yeah.
Kenny.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she did not get with Tom Kenny.
Now that's a story
Um,
right there. That's the case. That'd be funny.
no, but
Okay,
the
but go
guy
on.
who is like in the musical version of the stage production of SpongeBob got with Ariana Grande. Uh, he immediately had a baby with his wife right before like filming started. And then like just divorced her, like his wife,
Wow.
and it was his high school sweetheart. So yeah, when and it kind of makes sense now if you listen to the song "Break Up with Your Girlfriend on Board," which is an Ariana Grande song. It's kind of hitting it too hard.
Uh,
Yeah. So there's some drama going on with that movie. That should be another discussion for another time. This is just like the bits I'm giving, like bits and versions of it. It's not a good version of what I'm telling you right now, but there was a lot of drama with that film too.
ooh, we're gonna have to cover that. That's gonna be interesting. I love film drama like that. But
Onset trauma.
before we move on for Megalopolis, I do want to review. I want to read a quick snippet from one of the reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes of Megalopolis. It's from Maureen Lee Lenker from Entertainment Weekly. She writes, the film may be set in the future, but its views on sexuality, men and women, and power are hopelessly stuck in the past. So take that as you will.
How do you feel about that, Mac?
Sounds just about right, and I think I want to go see this in
You
theater.
do?
No. Actually, I might watch it, but I'm gonna have to, that's gonna be a day. I'm gonna go early Saturday morning or something. Because I'm not going after work to watch this.
It's a long time to see that.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for my piece of news?
Go ahead.
All right, so nothing really excited me today with news, but I will say, in honor of the Saturday night movie coming up, which is about the first live taping of SNL announced uh, the new guest host for the new 50th season. So, right coming off the start of it and off of her Emmy win, Jean Smart is going to host the season premiere on September 28th with Jelly Roll as the musical guest. And then on October 5th, Nate Bargatze will host his second time with musical guest Coldplay, followed up by that, speaking of which, Ariana Grande and then Stevie Nicks will be on October 12th. Then Michael Keaton and Billie Eilish on October 19th. And then after a 1 week break, John Mulaney will host on November 2nd with musical guest Chappell Roan. And yeah, that is that. I wanted to ask you, Mac, what do you think of these guests? And
I don't
which
watch
is one
SNL.
guest? I don't really watch SNL either, but I wanted to talk about it because it's such a big year for SNL. It's not, it'll nowhere be as good as it was, I will say, from the last 40 something years, last 10, 10-ish years, it hasn't been stable,
Mhm.
but, or as good. But if you could have anybody host SNL to make it better for at least one night, who would it be?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? Not
Honestly,
even,
no, because I feel like they've kind of done anyone I wanted to. I mean, they already had Keanu Reeves on there one time, so that's like gone. But
not
I
even bringing back like Eddie Murphy, which they did a couple years ago.
no, because when you bring back someone who's already hosted and it was good, if you bring it back the second time around, they're already gonna have such a very like hard thing to follow. But you know
Yeah.
who they should bring back? Ashley Simpson. Give her another shot.
Aw. Oh,
It just maybe the CD will be working this time, and she don't
yeah.
have to do the jig. But I mean, I in all seriousness, I mean, I guess if you had one person to host, because I mean, like whenever someone's the hot new commodity, they're already going to be hosting, like Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney did go on one time, and then
She went on after Madam Web, and she made jokes like
yeah,
topical. And the
and
thing
then
is,
she
too,
did
is
the Airbud skit. I
yeah,
remember that. I was like,
thing is too, a lot of these celebrity people, they don't. The only person that I want to host is Ryan Gosling because he's legitimately funny in that SNL,
he's
especially
good.
the skit when what was it, Kate McKinnon was talking about she got abducted by aliens. This poor man was on the verge of like dying of laughter because that skit is so funny to me. But
And
yeah,
then did you see him dressed up as Beavis and Butthead
that's
with
perfect. That
that
actually, I can see it. Yeah,
was a Kyle, not Kyle Mooney. What's his face? I can't think of it. What's his name? Mikey Day.
oh,
He's the
okay.
one Mikey Day is the one who was one of the writers for the new Home Alone movie that we did the watch along for.
Oh, that abomination.
Yep. So yeah, those are the hosts for SNL. I probably won't be watching any of them. I just wanted to acknowledge it because of the SNL movie that's coming out. Because I do want to see that because I do like all the cast on it. And I think they should do at least a episode with one of the people that's starring in the movie, like Dylan O'Brien or Nicholas Hoult, because all those people are starring in that movie. And I feel like they should, give that movie some praise, because it's celebrating SNL. That's what I think. But maybe
They
they couldn't
probably
get it.
will
Or
because
maybe they'll at least bring them out like
that
for an
seems
episode.
that just seems like something that they'd have to do because it's literally a film about SNL.
Yeah, I mean, and J.K. Simmons is going to be in it. I mean, you should bring J.K. Simmons for an episode, and I think he's done SNL once. So bring him back, just to
Yeah,
promote the film,
I can't tell who's even done SNL at this point. I need to look at a list.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll just move on to my last piece of news then. Let's see. I don't think we should, well, first of all, I would say we should talk about Diddy, but I don't think that's a good
No,
time for that. That's all a mess. Um, but anyways, let me pull it up as my Wi-Fi is moving very, very slow at the moment. All right. Oscars. France selects Emilia Perez for Best International Feature for the film race. This is from Deadline. So France has selected the Spanish language musical Emilia Perez to represent the Best International Feature Film category at the 97th Academy Awards. The drama stars Carla Sofia Garzona as a cartel leader Emilia, who enlists the help of unappreciated lawyer Rita, played by Zoe Saldana, to help her fake her death so she can live authentically as her true self. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, where it earned its 4 actresses, Garzona, Saldana, Selena Gomez, and Adriana Paz, as a collective Best Actress award, and also a clinched the jury prize. So the film was also selected for the short list of 4 films, which also included The Count of Monte Cristo by Alessandra Di Parletti, and a couple of other people. Maybe cut that part out. What I just said, like all that section where it starts at the film was selected. I'm not doing that part very well. But yeah, France has selected Emilia Perez to represent at this year's Oscars. Are you gonna watch Emilia Perez on Netflix? This
Who is that?
No, this is a movie called Emilia Perez.
Oh, I've never heard of it. What is
This is
the
a movie that was at Cannes, and it stars, like I just said, Zoe Saldana, Selena Gomez, and what's his face, Edgar Ramirez in this musical.
Oh no, I'm good. I don't like musicals. You already know this.
I know, but this is supposed to be like a drug cartel movie,
But it's a musical.
and it's a crime movie.
It's a musical though.
I was just trying to convince you because this has my girl Selena Gomez, and
You like Selena Gomez, and
I love my
like,
Selena Gomez.
I'm just like, you're gonna. Is it a serious movie, or is it just like a?
It is a serious movie. It's a super serious movie.
But it's a musical.
It's got comedy. It's got crime. It's a thriller. It's a musical. It's got everything. So, and it's coming to Netflix. And this is the film that France wants to submit as their submission for the Academy Awards.
Really?
Yes, for Best International Feature Film.
I mean, since it's coming on Netflix, it'll probably do well because, you know, everything that goes on Netflix this year.
I am so shocked you didn't hear about this movie because this movie was like the movie at Cannes this year.
I don't keep up with film festivals unless it's something where it's like a film that I might watch and everything. Because this film, I had never heard of it until you just mentioned it. I'm not kidding.
All right. Well, Emilia Perez, y'all. It's going to be selected for Best International Feature for the film race as France selects it. I hope you all check out Emilia Perez because I am very anxious to see this. I hope it's going to be playing at one of my local film festivals because it's been making the film festival circuits, and if not, I will be watching it as soon as it hits Netflix because this movie looks great, and especially knowing the fact that Selena Gomez could be nominated for a Best Supporting Actress because they're talking about her performance a lot.
So yeah, that's our news topic. If you got anything else for us to talk about in these film times, these trying time for film news, we are into the fall season, so there's going to be a lot of Oscar films coming out. Just let us know in the comments below or send us a message on MK Productions Podcast on Instagram.
All right, we were lucky enough to receive a screener for a brand new horror film called Night of the Harvest, and this is a brand new film that's going to be released on September 24th, and I think I should give you all a quick rundown before we give you our thoughts on the film. I lost my notes again. Give me 1 minute, y'all. Oop, as I almost break my microphone. I can't do that. I can't afford another mic now. Alrighties, here we go. A year after suffering a brutal attack, Madison is still grappling with the trauma of that night. Seeking a sense of normalcy, she reluctantly agrees to join her sister Audrey and her friends at a Halloween bash, hoping for a night of fun and distraction. But the festive atmosphere quickly turns deadly when a masked killer begins to hunt them down one by one. Ooh. Madison must confront her deepest fears and uncover the sinister secrets that bind her to this horror. How was that?
That was good.
Thank you. All right. And the film, I'm gonna, where did the director's go? Okay. Now the film was directed by Christopher M. Carter and Jessica Morgan. They co-directed it together. And I don't mind that we were received this film. I just was not impressed. So, you know, and I'm sad because I'm like, I love giving film any shot, especially when it's like an indie film, because this is an indie film.
Because filmmaking's hard, and we respect the
filmmaking
process.
is so hard. I respect the hustle. I respect the grind.
But on the other hand,
I respect everything.
But on the other hand, we're gonna call out a film for not being good because this is what we do. Mm-hmm. Just straight up. And
they ask for our opinion. They ask us to review it. So
this movie is it's not good. It's really not good. This is like,
I think the casting I will say for the beginning, like the first 10 minutes, like where it opens like a Scream movie, kind of. Not like a Scream movie, but like, you know, like the traditional horror film. It feels like on point, but after that, the acting goes straight downhill from there. I
well,
know these could be like first time actors, but
friends of
I
people that work on the movie.
yeah, but sometimes they're they're not always great. And I will appreciate amount of blood that they use because they were not afraid to use a lot of blood. It's clear as
I did like that, yes.
um none of the characters stood out to me, which is really, really sad. Even the girl who plays Madison
Hmm.
or the girl that plays Audrey, the sisters.
Yeah,
And then I could tell instantly based on how the film was going who the killer was.
same. Honestly, I kind of felt that as
It
well.
felt too cliched.
That's the thing when it comes to horror, and you know how much I love my horror movies. So
Me too.
let me get on my soapbox real quick.
Stan, let me brush it up for you.
Thank you. When
Just
you
on
have
the
a
apple box. Okay, now you
my,
may stand.
my Johnny Appleseed
Mhm.
box. Let me tell you something. When it comes to horror movies, if by I see the 30-minute mark, maybe 40-minute mark, if the audience finds out who the killer is, like they can use the context clues, you didn't really do a good job of kind of building that mystery. Like, I'll use something as an example. Scream. I think the first Scream movie, it does do a good job. Like the Scream movies do a good job of making you guess who the killer is because it's the red herring and kind of making fun of it, you know? But
Yeah, and it's able to keep the attention, and I don't think that's what this movie has zero
no,
attention. I think building for it.
this is kind of like this movie's kind of like let's take ideas that worked in other horror movies and kind of mix it all together.
Yeah,
And it just didn't work.
no, nothing really worked for me. And then the cinematography, I must say here, was really, really weak because I do see that based on my notes here that the co-director for oh my excuse me, the co-director Christopher M. Carter was also the director of photography, and it looks weak. It looks super weak, and I'm not saying like a lot of the shots were great, but none of the shots stood out to me in particular, especially the lighting sequences. Like you could tell where tweaks were made to make a certain lighting effect make certain like a character appear in a certain angle and light. The costume choices for this film, I know they probably couldn't pick like the traditional, like, licensed costumes because all the costumes for this film were so weak.
Listen, there's only so much you can do on a short
There is so
budget.
much you can do, but some of the costume choices, it's like they went to Party City last minute
Oh,
and they got the bottom of the barrel. Or it's like you go into the closet of like all the like Halloween decorations and costumes that you might have previously had, and you go, this might work. Like, no effort. Like, I feel like there should have been an effort since this is a Halloween movie. Like, especially for people our age,
mhm.
and given the ages for this movie, put some effort into the costumes. I mean, they may have not had the budget, but I've seen costumes where people take like a cardboard box.
You can get creative with it.
You can get creative with it. Exactly. And that goes with the costumes, and there's no that can also be said for the film. This doesn't have a creative bone in its body. Maybe you could say that for the killer, like the masked killer that's in the film that
Uh,
actually has a costume, but everyone else looks very like
that's where all the
basic.
money went to.
Yeah, that's where all the money went to. And I will say everything going on with this film made me not care.
I tuned out because I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, huh. And the thing is, like,
I hate when a movie makes you do that. Don't
I
don't
like to,
you?
yeah, I like to be engaged in the movie, and if it's not making me, if it's tuning me out, then I'm just like, you can't, you gotta. It's just a horror movie. Like that's the one thing. Unless a horror movie, your horror movie has to be either boring or not engaging for someone to tune out. Like even if it's like a so bad it's good horror movie, it's still to the point of like it's engaging enough to be entertaining. That this is not it.
Yeah. And I was trying to see if anybody else reviewed this film because this film like flew under the radar like for a lot. I know it's an independent film, but there is like nothing of this film like that can get a like a movie review at
Mhm.
all. I like if you I look it up on Google, there's like an article, maybe not an even an article. It's from a website called Cinema Clock, and I think it just gives a description, but
Uh,
no Halloween Daily News, like that's really it. Nobody seems to be aware of this film. And I wonder too, does nobody care? Which I
well,
hate to say or ask.
well, where is this movie coming out? Because I see on IMDb it's saying that it's going to come out on Tubi.
I mean, it could be coming out on Tubi, but it's uh Gravitas Ventures, so they're releasing it on digital.
Okay, so that's
So
probably going to be Tubi.
it
The
eventually will be on Tubi, but I think for now, since it is because the movie's got to make some kind of money and it has to make a profit.
I'll tell you
Tubi
what's
is
going.
not obviously going to buy it, but
I
or
well,
you can't put a
you're
movie
kidding
on.
me? They're gonna buy this. They're gonna buy it. They're gonna buy. Tubi's like, oh, you have content, we'll take it. But
Yeah,
listen. I think it's more of like there's so many other type horror movies that people will go see. If you can't stand out, you're gonna be left at the wayside. It's just simple as that. Because if you're not like something like I like remember Thanksgiving, was that last year
yes,
Thanksgiving I looked at it, I was like, man, that movie looks like it's gonna be generic, and I was wrong because that movie's actually really good,
yeah,
and it was memorable. And even something like I'm not even a big fan of Smile. I think Smile's dumb, but it's memorable. Like it's funny, memorable, funny, dumb. But like
yeah.
with this is something where I'm like, okay, I watched it once, all right, and then moving on. And then if I go to like a party or something, and they're like, hey, we're gonna watch a horror movie, and they see this, they're like, hey, what's that? I'm like, oh, that looks familiar. Like it doesn't stand out from the bunch. And if you can't stand out as a horror movie, you're gonna drown because it's just such a I wouldn't even say it's a saturated like genre, but it kind of is. And you gotta have something that stands out. And Night of the Harvest, I mean, just looking at these photos and kind of watching it again, it looked like it was trying to be Blair Witch.
Yeah.
And both Blair Witch, it looked like it tried to be Blair Witch and The Ritual, which I love The
Hmm.
Ritual, but
Ritual is good.
I it's just nothing. I can't tell you one memorable moment about this movie. It just did
No,
not hit for me.
no, nothing from this film hit. And I hate to say that because I can tell where hard work goes into a project, and you could see like hard work went into the project. It was just the way it plays out in the end that doesn't do anything for me.
Uh
And I'm really sad about that. If anybody from the film is hearing this, I am sorry.
we're
I'm
saying this out of
sorry.
love. We're trying to give constructive criticism. We're not going to be one of those people that's like, yeah, this movie sucks. And like, just stop. We're gonna say constructive. There's something there. You just need a little bit more seasoning.
I think if they done another film again, with the same idea, maybe if they just revamped it about some things a little bit better that to
Uh-huh.
make it stand out, then absolutely, then I would like check it out. Because I we never say no to any kind of film, or if we want to see a film, if a director was bad, we'll go back, review it, or if we want to see like a new film, like that's how films go. You try again with filmmakers, even if they're not great.
Yeah. You
So,
give it another shot.
and I guarantee you, they did whatever they could, but
But no,
it didn't work.
that
The
acting was
acting is definitely the worst part of
I
this
I don't even
film.
want to say it, man. Thanksgiving had better acting than this movie.
It's true. I don't feel comfortable grading it. No, I can't say that. I give it hard work because it ain't
Hard work.
because of Madam Web. I will take this over Madam Web any day.
I'll take anything over Madam Web. At least Madam
Anybody
Web was
would.
funny.
At least Madam Web was funny. This is just
It was
not
boring.
good. This was boring. So I guess I have to give it a D.
I'll give it a D plus because I'll give them an effort because they did something I'll never do is that make a movie. And that's better than
Exactly.
everything. And like I said, this is the criticisms that I love. And I'm not gonna because too many criticisms are like, oh, this movie sucks, blah 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 blah. Like there is something for it, so maybe they'll try something else, and maybe I'll check out their next project. But this just
I'm
was
rooting
not
for
for
you
me.
guys. I'm
And
rooting.
hey, look at the bright side. It's not bad as Winnie the Pooh. So there's
Oh,
that.
definitely. I didn't even
New,
see the new Winnie the Pooh yet.
the new one is takes the charm out of the first one, and
Did you
I'm
see
using
that they're
charm.
making, the Steamboat Mickey one? They're making a sequel to that.
They didn't even make the first one yet.
The Steamboat Mickey, I think, came out.
No, it didn't. They
There's
made a sequel to Winnie the Pooh. Then they announced the Steamboat Mickey one's coming out later this year.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Like as
Yeah.
soon as the
Okay.
domain, yeah. So at least you have
Steamboat
that.
Mickey. Well, I thought there was a sequel.
There's a sequel to Blood and Honey, and that was with Tigger.
Okay, maybe that was okay. Yeah, I guess so. Okay. I thought there was like a sequel thing I saw. Maybe that was
I
like
mean, maybe they
something
are playing a
else.
sequel, so I could be. I wouldn't be surprised because they're easy and cheap to make.
Yeah,
But yeah,
at this point.
I give this a D plus.
Okay. Well, y'all let us know if you're gonna watch Night of the Harvest. Thank you again to Gravitas for Ventures for sending us the film. And Mac, let's bring it on home and say what we got coming up.
All right, so what we got coming up for the next coming episodes? We're gonna be having a special. It's gonna be you, me, and
Some special guests.
Yes, we're gonna be doing our first ever live episode as we review the new Joker movie, and we try to see if it's bad or if it's good. And yeah, it's gonna be our first live episode. We'll see how it goes. We might do more in the future.
Yes, we'll probably be talking spoilers about it. So if you want to see it in theaters, catch it in theaters and then join us on October 13th as we discuss the film.
Yes, and then we're gonna be
And
getting
then
it.
we'll sprinkle in some potential other films that we may get access to.
Yes, and the Halloween season's coming too. So like,
Yes.
we'll be talking about some spooky, scary movies.
Yeah, we got to figure out what spooky movie we're going to cover this year.
That is actually a good question. We have not talked about that actually.
Maybe y'all can let us know in the comments. Figure out what we should cover because we've done Scream, we've done Hubie Halloween, we've done
Oh my
all
God, I forgot about
sorts
that
of
movie.
fun movies.
Now it's
Maybe
your turn.
Hubie Halloween isn't fun, but we've talked about it.
I completely forgot the movie existed. That came out was a year after the pandemic. Jesus Christ! And I watched that on Netflix.
No, I think it came out during the pandemic.
Did it?
2020.
Oh my God, it did.
Because I think, do you know why? Because do you know what we also talked about?
What?
The monsters. We talked about that too.
Oh
remember?
yeah, that's right. The good old days. We've been doing this for way too long.
Yeah, I knew there was like another one that we talked about that was also really bad.
But yeah, that's what's coming up. So stay tuned. We're gonna be live on YouTube and possibly Twitch, so we'll see what happens with that. But until next time, okay.
I have one more announcement too.
Well,
it's exciting announcement. We are just 12 episodes away from 150.
Yes, 150. It just seemed like a year ago we hit 100 episodes, but we're 150 and counting. 200 is gonna be awesome, but 150. I'm thinking about doing something kind of cool. Maybe a script read or a clip show.
We should do a watch along of a thing.
What would we do?
I don't know.
But
we could put it out into the universe. We'll manifest something. 150
is almost here. So if you have any ideas for episodes, let us know in the comments below to celebrate the big 150 halfway point to 200. And make sure to check out Kristen's new YouTube channel. She has a new interview out on her channel as well. Link in the description, and you can find it on
and a new review.
And a new review too.
Called A Mistake.
And
Elizabeth Banks.
And I reviewed Beetlejuice on my channel.
Oh no, how did that go?
It was good. I like the first one better, but it was still fun. And it's Tim Burton, so it's gonna make money for Christ's sakes.
I have a feeling it'll probably get nominated, not for maybe Oscar stuff, but I'm thinking it's gonna get nominated for that Golden Globe category for that cinematic box office achievement since it's making a good chunk of money.
Yeah,
right now.
I think there was no question about Beetlejuice not making money. I think it was gonna make money no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just more of like you know, it was a pretty packed theater. This was a Sunday morning, and everyone was went to go see it. So you know, it's right. It's freaking good. I gave it a B plus.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm shocked you gave it a B plus. That's quite high.
Well, I wasn't gonna see it originally, and I just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna see it," and I enjoyed it. So it exceeded
Did
my
you go with your
expectations.
dad?
No, I went
Or
by
you-
myself actually.
Oh, I love going to movies by myself. That's always
It was
fun.
nice, and there was kids in the theater. They weren't rowdy, so
That's good.
A plus for that. But until
Yeah,
next
we'll say goodbye.
so next year, check all that stuff out. It's gonna be in the description below, wherever if I feel like linking it, or just go on the channel because you're on the channel, you're watching this, or you're listening to this on Spotify, wherever you kids listen to your podcast now. But this has been the MK Productions podcast. I'm your host, Mac. Join here as usual, my co-host Kristen, aka Miss Flamingo, and we will see you all in the next episode. Peace.
Bye.